Hello, I'm Christian Ward, comic book creator of Bloodstained Teeth and many others. Welcome to Forbidden Planet TV.
Welcome to Forbidden Planet TV. I am Andrew Sumner, and I'm pleased to be joined today by Wolverhampton's finest teacher turned multi-Eisner Award winner, the one and only Christian Ward. How are you, mate?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me, Andrew.
Oh, mate, thanks for joining me. As you know, we're massive fans at Forbidden Planet of your beautiful work. Particularly myself and comics head buyer Rob Pontefract. I've known the guy for years. I can't even say his name properly. Rob Pontefract, we're huge fans of your work. And just before we talk about what we're here to discuss, Bloodstained Teeth, your new Image comics book, created with PATRIC Reynolds, and all about that in a second. But something we were talking about off camera is what it feels like to be a triple Eisner Award winner. After spending those 10 years as a teacher and not being a professional artist, always being a highly talented artist, what does that feel like, mate?
It's unbelievable. And it's also, especially for me, I've got quite anyone who knows my style, it's quite idiosyncratic, and it doesn't really fit into the mold of, the mainstream comics. It kind of sits outside. And so anyone will tell you, when you've got like a style that's a little bit left field, you always wonder, am I part of it? Am I part of the industry? Am I circling it? So to win, not one, but 3 Eisners was just the real kind of acknowledgement that, I'm there, I'm doing it. Do you know what I mean? And it kind of just gives you that, that confidence boost that you're doing something right, and you were right to follow your heart and just sort of like stay true to kind of like what your art was, rather than trying to mold yourself into something you're not. So it's just wonderful. And I never have a day or week where I take being a comic book artist and a comic book writer now for granted. It's a wonderful thing, and it's been my dream since I was 16. So to be living it now, it's just there are no words that can really sum up how amazing it is. I genuinely am very grateful for this career that I've got, and I love it.
And mate, you've got an epic colorist on this book, right?
Yeah, amazing. Heather Moore. She's pretty new to comics. This is, I believe, her 3rd comic, and she's just phenomenal. And going back to what I was saying about PATRIC having a very cinematic style, I've only ever seen PATRIC's colours being coloured in a very traditional way. And it struck me that the way he draws, there's a really good foundation there to go a bit wilder, a bit more imaginative. And so Heather came on, and I basically just sort of said to her, I want something different. I want something wild and crazy, and just like, there are no rules, just blow the doors off and do whatever you want, And she went away, took PATRIC's inks, and when she sent the first few pages through, we were literally like, because how often do you see something in a comic where you've never seen it before? And it was just, this is special. This is special. So, I mean, as much as I'm really proud of what I'm doing as a writer. I'm so proud of both PATRIC and Heather, and, hopefully come nominations and in July, they'll be nominated for one of those, rightly so, fingers crossed.
Yeah, quite right, mate. And as I said, your work is so absolutely beautiful. If anybody watching this has not happened to check out any of Christian's books, like ODY-C, like Invisible Kingdom, Machine Gun Wizards, like that great Black Bolt series that he did with Saladin, which was one of the things that won you an Eisner.
Yeah, first one.
Please check them out. They're available from Forbidden Planet. You really need to be reading Christian's work. But on that note, your all new project, which we are already big fans of, Bloodstained Teeth, coming in May. That's actually you writing, isn't it, rather than
it is coming in. It's coming this week in April.
Oh, it's this week in April. I'm thinking of our special edition of issue 1. That's it.
Yeah,
got it. Which we'll talk about in a second.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, it's my 2nd book as a writer. My first being Machine Gun Wizards, that came out what feels like 100 years ago now, pre-pandemic. And Bloodstained Teeth is my new book from Image, and it's really lovely to return home to Image. Last thing I did there was obviously ODY-C with Matt. So it's really lovely. It feels a little bit like going home. And I'm doing a book with PATRIC REYNOLDS as my co-creator, who's a fantastic artist just outside of Portland. And it's a vampire book, but it's a vampire book with a difference. And what we suppose is, what if we lived in a world that was secretly run by a cabal of billionaire vampires? Because let's be honest, what are billionaires if not vampires?
Correct.
And it supposes that what if blood isn't really the thing that they're after, because they can get blood. There are blood banks. We give our blood away freely. That wouldn't be a problem for the modern vampire. What would be a problem is sustaining a lifestyle over immortality. And so it's about how this society of vampires, what they have to do, how they feed on us in order to pay for their lifestyles and their worlds. And then it's about an outsider called Atticus Sloane, who kind of exists outside of this society of vampires called the Firstborn. And he decides the way that he's going to make a living is that he's going to charge money to turn you into a vampire. So he will take a bite of you, and it's a derogative term in the world of vampires, a sip, because he only takes a sip, and that turns you into a vampire, and you pay him for that, and you have to give him 10% of all your future earnings, and that's what he does for a living. But unfortunately, unbeknownst to him, that's not strictly legal in vampire law. And so that's where obviously our story goes, that conflict between him and the Firstborns. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun writing it and kind of creating this world, and doing something that feels really fun. I love vampires. It's fun. It pays homage to everything from Nosferatu to Bram Stoker's Dracula to Blade. But hopefully underneath the fun and underneath the horror and the thrills, it feels good to be sort of like trying to say something a little bit meaningful and have a commentary on kind of like the state of the world, particularly when billionaires are more preoccupied with getting to the moon and getting to space than they are with paying their taxes. So we're having a little bit of fun having a discussion about that.
I love it, I love particularly that application you were just talking about, and couldn't agree more. It's such a fun concept, mate. Has it lived with you for a long time?
Yeah. Well, I say yeah. The main thing with Atticus, like in him being like a vampire for hire, I had that about 4 or 5 years ago, and it sort of sat in my head. And I've always wanted to be an artist who writes and draws. And it was the same with Machine Gun Wizards. Initially, I was going to write and draw it. And this, I was initially going to write and draw it. And you have to kind of realize, and you have to be a little bit more like, you have to look at the stories that you're creating and think, okay, but am I the right artist for that? And over the last sort of like 2 years with the pandemic and everything that's been going on, a lot of the themes were starting to attach themselves to the story in a very kind of natural, organic way as it kind of grew in my mind as I was thinking of it. And the more that they attach themselves, the more I realized this is a reflection of our world rather than just, something a bit more throwaway or fun. And the more I realized that it had to look like a reflection of our world, and it had to look as close to our world as possible. And when I came to that realization, I knew I wasn't the right artist for it. And it had to be someone like PATRIC REYNOLDS. And for anyone who doesn't know, Patrick's draftsmanship as an artist is unsurpassed. His work is just phenomenal. I've seen early reviews that have described it as kind of photorealistic, and it absolutely is. It feels very cinematic. He's very good at drama and lighting, tension, and his acting is really good. So there's almost no need for suspension of disbelief at all. It's 100% a reflection of our world, which is what I wanted. So once I kind of came to that realization, it was quite easy to hand off to Patrick and kind of trust him with my baby. And then we raised our baby together, and now it's off into the world going to college. So yeah, it's been really good.
That's such a wonderful analogy. And while you've been talking, will have been my man Josh my editor will have been rolling the wide variety of alternate covers that we're selling for Bloodstained Teeth issue 1, which are all beautiful. And as I mentioned before, the other thing you've worked on us with, which we're very pleased about, thank you very much, and it's lovely, is an exclusive Forbidden Planet cardstock variant signed edition, which is available for pre-order from the links attached to our conversation, and that will be available in mid-May. But that's directly signed by Christian.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun to do, and it's really good to. My mind is you guys are our bread and butter. Comic stores are the heart and soul of it, and so you have to do as much as you can to sort of support comic stores. And the response from them for this book has just been phenomenal. So all the variant covers and all the different stores that are doing their own covers is brilliant. But you've got one of the better ones because I did it.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, no, we love it. And as we're discussing that, you'll see it, the viewers will see it magically appear next to you. And we're very pleased with it. Thanks so much, mate. And this really is a terrific new book. It's a brilliant concept, very beautifully delivered. Thanks for creating it, Christian. You're very welcome. We're very happy to be selling it. And before we go, real quick, I know that you've got some amazing projects on the horizon. Can you just give me a quick flavour of them?
Well, the next big one that's making a wave is Aquaman Andromeda. From myself, I'm illustrating that one, written by the amazing Ram V.
Another old mate of ours, great writer, great bloke.
Fantastic, and I like I said to you off camera, I've always wanted to do a big DC book. Reading Arkham Asylum when I was like 15 was what made me want to do comics. So to be doing something similar. Like, obviously not with Batman, but now with Aquaman. We realise Aquaman had never had his Arkham Asylum. He hasn't had his, his big book. And so we're having a go at making Aquaman's big book, and it's been a lot of fun. A big cosmic horror set in a deep underwater, starring Aquaman. I mean, it's been brilliant. It's so much fun.
We really can't wait. And Arkham Asylum appears to be in a lot of people's minds at the moment, because I was talking to Liam Sharp the other day about the collected edition of his Batman Reptilian book that he created with Garth, which has all his beautiful painted art in, and that was one of his touchstones to Arkham Asylum. So I think it's just that period of time where everybody looking back on that great piece of McKean work, it's become very influential once more to artists like yourself, and quite rightly so, I think, mate.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't be the artist I am without it.
Yeah, and on that tributary note, it would be great if you could come back and join us for a future episode with Ram, and 100%. We'll go into a bit more detail on Andromeda.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, I'm very happy to.
In the meantime, Christian, congratulations on Bloodstained Teeth. It's an epic book, and I very much look forward to seeing how the story unfolds. And I will see you soon, brother.
You will. Thanks very much.
Take care, mate. All the best.
Cheers.
If you're enjoying watching Forbidden Planet TV and you're enjoying watching us talk to the world's most interesting and accomplished filmmakers, authors, artists, musicians, creators, subscribe right here. See you soon.